Hi, I'm Pavan Kumar, partner at F50 Elevate and co-founder of 3PM Ventures. I'm an ex-founder, investor, mentor, and advisor to startups. I've spent over 2 decades in the startup space and had numerous interactions with the founders and startups. Based on my experience, I have written a book called Startup Success, listing 7 simple rules that would help founders and startups to increase the probability of success. So today I'm going to talk about these 7 rules which would be useful, especially for the early stage startups. First rule is to have the right companion to start the journey. So when you launch a startup, being alone, it is going to be very challenging, tedious, and frustrating at times. If you have a companion who aligns with your way of thinking, who believes in your idea and is willing to make all the sacrifices which you are doing, then that would be a great partnership. Also, having a person with complementary skills would be really helpful for the company. Many early stage startups have challenges in attracting good talent to come and work for the company. So if founders are able to bring those critical skills, the core skills which are needed to make the startup idea work, then it would be a great start. So the second role is share your idea and start with the customer. Generally what happens when a founders get an idea, they think that it is very unique and they keep it very close to their chest. They don't talk about it and they want to work on the idea, build out a product or service before they start talking about it. On the contrary, if you start talking about your idea, identify a potential customer, share your thoughts with them, and take their feedback, take their inputs, and also validate if you are doing the right thing. That would help a great deal in avoiding pitfalls in the journey. Socialize your idea, get all the inputs, and try to find a customer who is willing to take the journey with you. Then you are off to a great start. Many founders have this misconception that there are a lot of investors waiting to chase ideas. Though it may be true in some areas or in some regions, but in general, it is extremely hard to find investors to back the ideas. The best way to launch a startup is to come with enough money in the bank. If your idea is going to take 12, 18, or 24 months to bring some product or service, then you should have enough financial resources to back your efforts and also to avoid unnecessary frustrations. Also be mindful that early stage ideas don't get big valuations. If you have a product or service with some market validation, then your valuations will be far different than reaching out to investors when you haven't started the journey yet. The fourth rule is to believe that success comes only when you have the right revenue model. Every startup has to generate money, and that too at some point has to become profitable. So it is extremely important when you're small, when you're beginning, to have the right revenue models that can bring money into the company and also become profitable over a period of time. Many a time startups fail because founders don't get their priorities right. They are doing things in a very haphazardous way or in a very unplanned approach. Sometimes startups are doing things which they need to do when they become successful rather than at a very early stage. In this effort to gain quick traction, even startups at times tend to financially drain themselves and eventually wind up. So it is extremely important to have a very focused short-term vision and make all your efforts on realizing these short-term goals. So it is extremely important to get the priorities right. What is important for the startup in the near term to be successful and focus on those tasks or plans. The sixth rule is related to marketing. I've come across many founders with technical backgrounds. They are always shy and they think they need people with special marketing and sales skills to take them into the market. This is a misconception. I believe no one else can talk the story of a startup than the founders. So simple things like writing your story on the social networks, sharing updates on the social networks, showcasing customer feedback on the social networks. All these don't cost money, but still they bring a lot of branding and awareness about the startup in the market. Also, conducting meetups, attending meetups, showcasing at events, or just walking around with a t-shirt that is having your company's brand itself create a lot of awareness in the market. So founders need to take this important task of making noise, either it in the social networks or events or online, just to create all that awareness and traction for their story. And the seventh and the last rule is, how do you engage with investors and mentors? When you start a startup journey, it is extremely important you get an experienced mentor on board who has domain knowledge, industry insights, or who is a known personality in this space where your market is trying to bring some innovation. Having mentors always gives you an outsider view and also helps to avoid the mistakes which otherwise would happen because of our short-sightedness. Once you start looking for funding, choose the investors the way investors choose your startup. Find the right investors who bring their network, domain expertise, or industry insights to help your startup. The best way to engage mentors and investors in your startup journey is to use them and make them part of your team. Just to summarize, so in the end, these rules are specially applicable for early stage startups because when startups start on the journey, the energy levels of the founders are very high. But as reality starts setting in, the frustration grows, and also we tend to do irrational things, which eventually impact the startup. These rules are very relevant for early stage startups, especially for those individuals who are planning to launch a startup. Please be mindful of these things, and the more attention you pay to these rules and the more you apply them practically while driving your startup journey, it would really help in improving the probability of your success. So I wish you all the success and all the best for your startup journey. Thank you.